My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. The city of Ontario is amplifying plane activity flying over my room, and the sound of the plane activity, like I told you, it is demonic. You see the plane, but the sound that you're hearing is a demonic means of audible activity, because the entity just sounded plane activity and you're looking at the distance. So the demons are stalking and they're surrounding me with the sound of amplified plane activity inside of my room, and they're doing so while the fake sun, just like I just captured image of, is right here. And that's also how you know that a demon is flying a commercial plane nowhere near takeoff in any airport. You're not taking off from 2500 South Archibald Avenue, flying in the direction south over the 60 freeway. You're also not going to be hovering over my room, and neither is in the natural environment the sun going to create this. They're monitoring inside of their rooms. That's the shadow of the gate on this wall. So let me walk in it so you can see what is engineer light while the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking me, and so is the city of Ontario. Okay, the city of Ontario that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. And as you saw yesterday at 12:51 p.m., I stood right here on video, and the entity has the fake position. This is the same exact position it was. It was reflecting, and my images I took, it was reflecting off the windshield right here. It's over my head and it's zenith, and this is 10:04 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over me inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. at the window of the staircase when I walk into it. That's not sunlight on the staircase that they're all walking around, and it's not the sun that would be over the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library. It's the identification where a demon-possessed entity of government is using commercial planes to stalk an American citizen, and a population of demons are targeting together. Everybody on that freeway is engaged in state surveillance. Everybody at Mobile Gas, the employees and the patrons, they're not concerned with a conversation. They're stalking in the path, and this is why you have an entity using what is a demonic means of surveillance, using planes, and the sound of the planes is occurring when they're at a great distance. The entity gang stalking by helicopter today too as well. It's currently 10:04 a.m. That's called crossing path, and they're stalking while you have this impossible light all over the building. They're stalking, and they're unintelligent stalkers. This is state surveillance at Economy Inn. The fake sun still here at 12:51 p.m. That's the light source, not the sun. This is a sex offense while I'm under surveillance, and walking around, rolling the carts is creating earthquake-like conduct. Again, it's not the sound of the planes, it's amplified audible activity pursuant to surveillance. This is my shadow appearing above my head. That's not sunlight, it's engineered light pursuant to surveillance. That's not the operation of an airport engaged in any flights with regard to destinations. That's gang stalking, stalking using commercial planes, which demons do, and it is the special needs population engaging in surveillance. And everything that they're doing is pursuant to activity creation, amplified audible activity, sensational activity. Pacing it outside of my room is not going to create any sort of earthquake-like conduct, no rumbling noises. And being at that distance in a plane is not going to be heard inside of my room. Okay, the moment that I hear it, I open the door and the plane's already over there. That's understanding the demons who are targeting. And that's what I stated. When I'm at 325 West G Street and you see the plane flying over that defendant's house, you see the plane, but the sound of the plane is separate. It's demonic activity right in front of your face. And this is an illustration of exactly what it is that I'm describing. Okay, and that's the case all the time. No matter how close it looks, no matter how much more, in other words, realistic it appears. These are demons and this is demonic. P.O.C. It's currently 10:06 a.m. License 8PLH886. Gang stalking at the patron at the venue. And the managers and the venue itself, Economy Inn, is going to be prosecuted. This is where they committed kidnapping. And my documentation shows the fake sent over this pool at 7 a.m. in 2020. This is P.O.C. It is Friday, July 18, 2025 at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. And the fake sun is in its zenith over the top of my head at the address of Economy Inn. Unity engaging in criminal summoning, and this is understanding how a government is centering the use of even their emergency vehicles while they are of the same demon-possessed special needs population, pacing around me, worshiping me, engaging in the ritualistic behavior of stalking in that specific environment, stalking with light while the fake sun remains over me. The entity sounding sirens while the people of the state concentrating presence at Economy Inn under the fake sun. They're doing that at approximately 10:06 a.m. KKB99. That's a license plate. And the manager's license plate, 9GTD454, gang stalking. So is mobile in relevant position. Mobile is a gas station adjacent to this venue. It's a facilitating venue, and they are gang stalking, including while the demons are filling up their gas tanks at the venue. License EE94Z99. That's a paper plate on a white van. License 98819C2, 8MNH440, 7N54622, 8EYU655. And the fake sun that is over my head now is, understand, in the same positions while it's reflecting off of this same building, off of a window of this same building at 7 o'clock in the evening. That's stalking with the fake sun, and it's absolutely special needs, exposing special needs of demons that are stalking you in a highly unintelligent manner, meaning this whole secret system is not a secret and it's also not intelligent. 9SBU 962, 3TBG 137, 9MBP 997. 8LAK763. The entity maintaining ongoing amplified audible activity, ongoing rumbling, earthquake, shaking, and sensational conduct as I am moving around inside of the hotel. That's ongoing terrorism, while a bunch of demons just because they're obsessively stalking you. So you're being maintained inside of an entirely harassing and terrorizing environment because they are stalking you. 5AMV693, 6UEN065. License 9SPD246, 9SYM876, 7GVG203, 8EDV437, and you'll see the fake sun over me now while I'm facing the pool. As the fake sun moves as I move, And it's nowhere near the Ovitt Family Community Library. It's not going to be reflecting off of the rear windshield of this vehicle that I'm standing in front of at Economy Inn, for it to be over the Ovitt Family Community Library at 215 East C Street, like I'm documenting at 10 o'clock when I'm at that venue, where the entity is keeping the fake sun through the staircase. The window above the staircase, that's where the entity is gang stalking that city of Ontario. The demon in unit number 117, they're stalking, as you can see, what is impossible light. I just took a picture of it. At 10:11 a.m., you'll see light manifesting in the shade for the criminal purposes of gang stalkers that are remaining at the hotel engaging in criminal conduct with the city of Ontario, which is the state of California. All right, these are a bunch of demons, and these are a bunch of stalkers that are both working at the venue, okay, that are both coming and staying at the venue and pacing all around the venue. This is all manner of surveillance on the freeway, in all the businesses, and the surrounding residences. This is gang stalking. All right, it's currently 10:11 a.m. and this is P.O.C. The entity that is gang stalking is doing so through the employees while I'm subject to harassment and activity creation while you're engaged in housekeeping. That's P.O.C. While I walk past your room and my shadow appears on your hotel ceiling, you're monitoring. That's P.O.C. All right, and those are sex offenders together. Because that's exactly what's happening. When you see the impossible light activity inside of my room, the demons are monitoring, and they keep their hotel room doors open to monitor me while sex offenders know that they're being documented, and they're more concerned with being sex offenders and stalkers than ceasing to engage in criminal conduct with the government. And those type of predators belong in federal prison, because that's what's filling Economy Inn right now. A bunch of demons that are monitoring, keeping his hotel room door open. As I walk by, you'll see me taking a picture of the third-party housekeeper. She's a third party, not a private citizen engaging in what is a constitutionally protected activity. She's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and as I walk by one of the patrons' rooms that she's gang stalking me with, my shadow is moving across his ceiling. He's a sex offender, studying his communication device, monitoring me with the millions of people on the 60 freeway. This is relevant positioning over and over and over and over again. Okay, this is the psychopathic pattern of conduct practiced by the state of California that is gang stalking. And the fake sun, as you know, is still here after 7 p.m. It is currently 10:13 a.m. and there is never any natural environment surrounding me where Paul Leon is gang stalking me at the Ontario City Hall. There is never any natural environment surrounding me where Mike LORENZ is gang stalking me at the Ontario Police Department that's located at 2500 South Archibald Avenue. The entity is gang stalking me while keeping the fake sun over me while the demon-possessed entity surrounds me under an entire light source, which is the identification of the target. And that is myself, and an entirely ridiculous. And that ridiculousness is shown to be the hard evidence of showing what is targeting, and it is revealing mental illness that's shared by a population. And it is the ability to engage in what is a broad categorization of what is sickness shared amongst a population that's engaged in gang stalking, and that's the state of California. It's currently 10:14 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. All right, mobile that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring as an establishment that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, and also its gang stalking patrons, the people of the state. Mobile is a commercial actor that is also representing the people of the state, and so are every gang stalker that's engaging in relevant positioning and activity creation, monitoring a woman in a hotel room with knowledge and intent in conformity to the pattern of conduct. That is everybody that's shopping present around the mobile gas station to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. It is public corruption that mobile gas is engaged in. Mobile is located at 2315 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, 91762. This is P.O.C. All right, Economy Inn engaged in with the state. Those are the demons of American Medical Response, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario Police Department that are engaging in criminal summoning, sounding the sirens as they cross path with me. This is the entity repeating the same pattern of conduct to its own demise. The state's already exposed as gang stalking. They are sloppily engaging in what is exposed domestic terrorism in the state of California and in the city of Ontario and at Economy Inn. The entity is repeating it as I document, which is not a coincidence, also under a fake sun that's still here after 7 p.m. These are the sex offenders that are going to be dealt with, where people like Alan D. Wapner are not going to be questioned with regard to the necessary removal from position. It's 10:18 a.m. That's criminal summoning again. Demon stalking in emergency vehicles like American Medical Response. That's the city of Ontario, P.O.C. All right, you will see the evidence of sex offenders who are males keeping myself, a woman, under surveillance, monitoring my vagina is what they're engaged in inside of this hotel room. Every time I take my clothes off, every time I'm in the shower, every time I'm washing my body, every time I'm relieving myself in the bathroom, every time I brush my teeth, every time I take my clothes on and off, every time I get in and out of bed, make any movement in this hotel, you're looking at what are the evidence of sex offenders who are a bunch of males keeping me under surveillance, and they're acting with the government that's engaging what is demonic, sounding sirens and using lights on emergency vehicles while a fake sun remains over me, and they're all sharing in the pattern of conduct, which is an exceedingly violent sex offense. You will see this demonstrated through the maintenance of what is mobile gang stalking with patrons who are stalking in perfect alignment with my room. A white GMC truck is what you will see parked in alignment to me. And I'm taking pictures. You'll see the demon. Looks to be like a short, perhaps Latino or maybe an Asian. This is an olive-skinned male with dark black hair. He is a third-party gang stalking as a mobile employee, and doing so with a gang stalking third-party patron standing behind beside the white GMC truck. They're both monitoring me in the path. The fake sun is over me, so you're aware of the environment. They're monitoring me with a bunch of demons that are pacing all around the 60 freeway, Euclid Avenue. Everybody in relevant position at all the commercial venues around, and the entity that's maintaining aerial surveillance. This is everything that's surrounding while you will see at what is 10:31 a.m. the images of gang stalking while I remain inside of the hotel. This is Mobile Gas at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, gang stalking and using the business of mobile to engage in state surveillance, which is a sex offense, keeping a woman and her vagina under surveillance. This is what mobile and the mobile employees with the mobile customers, the people of the state, are engaging with the government. They're doing so in the surrounding environment, and you'll see what is the image of my shadow and the image of the gate while I'm on the second floor walking past a gang stalker's hotel room who's studying his communication device. He's monitoring. This is a sex offender monitoring with mobile gas who are surrounding in the path. Everywhere that I'm going, somebody is maintaining presence in the path. They are doing so while a fake sun remains from morning until evening, which I've also shown as the pattern of conduct even before 2025. This sex offender that is gang stalking as a patron at the venue is in room number 236. He is sharing in the exact same pattern of conduct as everybody else, including the employees. It is impossible for my shadow to appear above anyone's head. Your shadow does not appear above your head. When you are standing under the sun, and I'm not even standing under the sun, I'm standing on the second floor under a covered structure, and this is light that is manifesting in the shade above my head for the gang stalking purposes of sex offenders that are present at Economy Inn, who are engaging in the pattern of conduct through the vouchers paid for by the City of Ontario, who is gang stalking me through the people of the state that are remaining at this venue. This is a sex offense that's shared by a bunch of males who are monitoring my vagina together. Demon possessed. This is the special needs population that practice sexual violence while they engage in that practice sexual violence while they engage in criminal surveillance. And this is state action. This is the government, a public entity that's a sex offender. And I'm exposing to you all of the raw footage, the evidence, the proof that the government is a sex offender and a stalker and practices demonic means of targeting someone that they engage in what is sexually exposing, sexually preying upon, and sexually violating while engaging in what is criminal surveillance. And this is what is shared with the people of the state who are also sex offenders. While I'm walking by the hotel room number 238, you'll see the same impossible light activity on the door. You will see the impossible light activity on the door of room 240. That is while I'm walking on the second floor under a covered structure in the shade, light is manifesting in a supernatural manner, which is the evidence of stalking with light. What's another iteration of the same thing? Being inside of Starbucks, being at the Tabor Professional Building outside, and the people of the state that are crossing path. This is what's happening while I'm at this hotel, and the demons are inside of their hotel rooms. They're crossing path with me while I am walking by their rooms, and light is manifesting supernaturally. They are stalking with light, crossing path. Gang stalkers who are sex offenders, still obsessing over my vagina, keeping it under surveillance inside of this hotel room. On behalf of the government, the City of Ontario, the sex offender Paul Leon, who's obsessed with my vagina, the fire chief Michael GERKEN, who's obsessed with my vagina, the police chief LORENZ, who's obsessed with my vagina. The airport authority, Alan D. WAPNER, who's obsessed with my vagina. That's why they're engaging in gang stalking me inside of a hotel room. That's why they engage in gang stalking me inside of the bathroom at any facility, including the Ovid Family Community Library, including the Starbucks, where the people of the state are stalking with light. Driving by on Euclid Avenue will never result in light simultaneously appearing on the inside of the building of Starbucks and creating any manner of dynamic light moving in any direction under any circumstances. The entities engage in what is stalking with light, and you're looking at another iteration of the same exact pattern of conduct, and they are exposed as sex offenders. They're also exposed as closeted mentally ill. This is very much a special needs population who are centering everything around me at a hotel now. Gang stalking on the 60 freeway. Okay. By the way, that's relevant to the federal stalking statute, using the roads and the highways, interstate commerce, while the government, the people of the state, in the shoes of the government, not private citizens, are maintaining criminal surveillance. The entity is doing so while you will see me walking, and you will see this demon, that's Mobile Gas, who was gang stalking as a corrupt establishment in relevant position, centering their business on what is gang stalking me. That's understand the placement in the room that I'm in. The placement of the fake sun over me, the maintenance of the fake sun for the duration of the day, the placement of impossible light activity, the maintenance of plane activity over my room, the entity maintaining amplified audible activity inside of my room, sensational activity inside of my room, is evidence of what Mobile is actually doing in its federal group stalking and monitoring, and that's the federal RICO case against all of the businesses in the state of California, where California is engaged in criminal surveillance. Federal group stalking and monitoring, i.e. gang stalking. And gang stalking is centered around the genitalia of the targeted individual. That is, the government is an exceedingly violent sex offender. Okay? Sex offenders are not qualified to be in public office. Okay? Sex offenders are disqualified from maintaining positions of authority as a fire chief, as a police chief, as the airport authority, the president, especially when each department is also documented and surrounded with insurmountable evidence and irreducible evidence of gang stalking itself. The entities engage in a pattern of conduct as the people of the state, who are not private citizens. This is a special needs population that are engaging in blatant, sloppy stalking while the secrecy is already removed, okay? And their obsession with my vagina is now in clear view for the whole world to witness. It is currently 10:41 a.m. This is gang stalking. You'll see these images uploaded to the Google Drive. The entity is maintaining surveillance as I remain inside of a hotel room, which is no legitimate interest of any government in the United States. Because we are surrounded with what is a constitution which actually has significance. Regardless of the public corruption that I'm exposing, the Constitution, state and federal constitutions, they actually matter. And they actually have meaning. And it is informing how the entity that's gang stalking California is going to be treated under that Constitution that it has trampled over and while engaged in gang stalking me, an American citizen. It's currently 10:42 a.m. at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. All right, City of Ontario is engaged in what is the sex offense, criminally monitoring me inside of my room. Now, this is the City of Ontario, the so-called housing division. That's the same City of Ontario, but I'm getting to the specific actors within the entity that are engaged in gang stalking me inside of this hotel room. You will see the engineered light on my ceiling. You will see the demons who the City of Ontario has paid for their rooms to share in criminal monitoring. This is state action. The state is acting directly through the City of Ontario and acting vicariously through the people of the state. The demon-possessed, who are the people of the state staying in the hotel rooms, you'll see them walking in the parking lot. One on the second floor walking past my hotel room, another in the parking lot. Those are demons who are pacing. They're doing so while the fake sun's in the same position at 1:07 p.m. The entity is acting through the City of Ontario that is gang stalking with all the other third parties in the parking lot at the venue. City of Ontario operating vehicle license 1302476. The same demons that are taking my personal information, doing so under the fake sun while the entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, passing out what are food snacks to the gang as they're gang stalking at the same time. This is the malicious pattern of conduct by sex offenders who are targeting me in doing so. The entity engaging in what is ongoing earthquake conduct, shaking and vibrating the floor under my feet. This is targeting me inside of the hotel room. Where you're walking outside is not causing any earthquake. While you're driving on the side on the parking lot is not causing any earthquake. Where the sun is not going to remain over one hotel room until 7 o'clock in the evening. Where sunlight is not going to appear underneath the shaded structure onto the ceiling inside of my hotel room. The City of Ontario is gang stalking with the demons who are remaining as patrons to maintain criminal surveillance with the City of Ontario. This is criminal conduct that the Paul Leon, the City of Ontario, the state, is wasting criminally wasting resources to engage in monitoring me. I want to be clear, this is the same entity that is engaging what is using, criminally misusing the resources of a city to engage in surveillance. They're wearing name tags. You'll see them passing out food, and they're doing so while they're gang stalking me. They're handing out food under the fake sun. They're monitoring. They're doing so while they're pacing to and from their rooms. They're monitoring me. And they are sharing in what is a demonic pattern of conduct, harassing and terrorizing me. And this is what is causing me to open the door and capture the environment outside of my room, where the demon possessed includes the very housing division of the city of Ontario who are engaged in the pattern of conduct. It's currently 1:09 p.m. where they are doing so, and they're doing so pursuant to what is a sex offense. They're doing so. You will also see the very kidnapper on in images at 1:05 p.m. He is still targeting me with the city of Ontario. He's wearing the olive green Adidas shirt. He has a overweight, a stomach sticking out. In other words, he's got a big belly, pot belly, a black wristband on his right wrist, and he's wearing Adidas sandals and black shorts, facial hair. This is the third party that engaged in kidnapping on September 25th, 2020, with the third party female who was impregnated right now that I documented the other day. This is the couple that engaged in kidnapping. They're still present, engaged in the pattern of conduct. He is pacing in the parking lot, not coincidentally, but as I open the front door, and the entities engaging is walking to and from, walking in the parking lot is light activity creation. They're stalking. You're looking at crossing a path light activity while they are all stalking with light. Stalking with light also occurs when you are, for example, driving on the street and then light is somehow molesting my person, like shooting like some sort of rocket, some sort of like light just shooting out of nowhere across my person or across the surfaces around me. That's also stalking with light. Walking past the hotel rooms and you're looking at light manifesting out of nowhere, the shadow of the gate where there's shade and it's manifesting light out of nowhere. That's also stalking with light. You're stalking with light when you're walking in engineered light under a fake sun. This is showing the special needs status as the demon possessed are engaging in what is a corrupt system of criminal surveillance, which is gang stalking. That Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California is sharing in with the city of Ontario, who are doing so through the criminal misuse of government programs, such as claiming to be providing housing services, access to housing services, taking your personal information on communication devices while they're gang stalking you, sharing that public information with the millions of people who are gang stalking you together on communication devices on the venue of the internet. And the city of Ontario is again using vehicle with license 1302476 at what is 1:05 p.m. These are the many of the same state actors that are gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square, as I documented on in the morning, capturing the fake sunrise. And I will remind you about that date right now. That was July 15th, 2025. The entity is gang stalking with the same city of Ontario. This is the corrupt entity, the corrupt public entity that is engaged in what is public corruption, using the resources of that city, of that state, to maintain and facilitate the pattern of conduct. And the entity is doing so while the city of Ontario is both paying for the hotel room, paying for the hotel rooms of gang stalkers, and also engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And that's what's shared. The entity is engaged in ongoing pacing of commercial airline planes over my room, maintaining ongoing amplified audible activity, which is loud noise, in other words, that's sounding inside of my room, and the ongoing vibration of the floor literally under my feet where I'm sitting inside. Remember, yesterday I documented while I was standing in front of the television. That's where, at that location where I was standing in the room, the floor was vibrating under my feet. This is demonic. And it's identifying targeting. And the entity that is outside of my hotel room sharing in that terrorism, sharing in that sex offense, monitoring a woman inside of a private space, which is state action, sharing in what is psychological torture, is the city of Ontario. Again, that is the city of Ontario that is operating the vehicle with a license, and sharing in criminal engagement and targeting me with the people of the state, license 1302476. It is currently, again, 1:12 p.m. These images will be uploaded to the Google Drive. This is relevant to what is federal prison for this kidnapper at Economy Inn. He is still sharing in a criminal engagement of the pattern of conduct after committing kidnapping on September 25th, 2020. And the government that is engaged in criminal surveillance and kidnapping as an entity, as the Ontario Police Department has, which is the same city of Ontario, has routinely, as I'm documenting, C. Hazelwood, as I'm documenting, L. Edwards, Alex Escobar, A. Casada, Nathan Morgan, the entities engaging in the pattern of conduct, L. Martinez, C. Torres, and those that are engaging in this, B. Hook, that are engaging in what is kidnapping, as I'm documenting the entity that is engaging in this P.O.C. Kidnapping is a routine part of what is an obstruction of justice. As I am the first targeted individual to prove gang stalking and this public corruption that the federal government is sitting back and watching, because this is the federal government's criminal activity through the lower demons of the state of California. The federal government is not engaged in any investigation. The federal government is engaged in voyeurism as well. The federal government is sitting back and watching me expose it. The federal government is delaying justice, and the federal government is also liable when I am prosecuting. And like I stated before, the federal government is watching every act of kidnapping and not interfering, not engaging in what is protection, not engaging in what is stopping the corruption, not engaging in what is stopping the sexual violence, not engaging in what is stopping the terrorism, but is sharing in that. That's not an investigation. Okay, this is what Jason Isaac Fields is sharing, and this is not a legitimate government actor. He's going to federal prison, acting with the state of California, his sex partner, Tracy Lemire Banks. Having sex together, plotting against me because this demon thought that having sex with this witch that engaged in summoning demonic spirits together because they're demon possessed and they worship Satan, relevant context to what is domestic terrorism, because he's a corrupt government actor. He's acting with the government and what is targeting me and abusing government position in doing so. And this is relevant to what are a bunch of demons that are gang stalking in the demonic environment pursuant to the demonic pattern of conduct. But Jason Isaac Fields is sharing in this, and this is not a federal investigation. The federal government is watching its own criminal conduct being exposed, and the federal government has engaged in years of delaying justice and permitting the Ontario Police Department to repeatedly kidnap, watching C. Hazelwood and Owens engaging in what is an attempted kidnapping, watching the entity gang stalking me by helicopter day in and day out, watching the ongoing psychological torture and domestic terrorism, sitting and watching that. That is not an investigation. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, and this is exposing what the U.S. government is doing throughout the country. And Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. This is a demon who was unsuccessful in trying to secretly target me. And then once realizing that it's not going to work, all of a sudden now you're a good guy and you're investigating because you're on the side of justice. No, he's not. You're going to federal prison for what you never had the right to do in the first place, which was in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. When you're engaged in state surveillance as a corrupt official, okay? And I'm still subject to that pattern of conduct. So you're now calling what is the same exact pattern of conduct that an American citizen had a right to never be subject to in the first place. Now you're just calling your position some sort of investigator. That is the delusional psychopath, the same special needs population who are still engaging in that pattern of conduct. While the American citizen remains subject to that ongoing unlawful threat to their life, the government is going to be prosecuted for it, because the government had no right, no constitutional authority under any circumstances to ever engage in it. And you have maniacal psychopaths who are wearing logos of the city of Ontario, pacing like the demons that they are in a parking lot under a fake sun that is nowhere near the Ovid Family Community Library, which would be the case in what was supposed to appear as a consistent and natural environment. This is mental illness shared by those engaging in public corruption. And they come to my hotel door as though they're engaged in what is the provision of housing services and access to housing services, while they're gang stalking in furtherance of murder and kidnapping me. This is why Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields' sex partner, is going to federal prison. And by the way, those that want to speak to and address what is Tracy Banks is no longer closeted mental illness, you need to understand that the demons of the city of Ontario share in that same special needs status. This is an identical pattern of conduct. This is sharing in delusion. They are gang stalking and doing so in a circus environment, absolutely demented with regard to every aspect of their shared pattern of conduct. The mental illness is that which is shared by the population. Those that are in position of government, those that are engaging in public corruption, such as using what is the housing divisions of the municipality to engage in gang stalking an American citizen. They share the same mental illness that Tracy Banks suffers from. Gang stalking her own daughter, wanting to be me, engaging in what is stealing my identity, telling other people that she is me, engaging in what is fraudulent criminal acts against me, and then acting with the government to try to surround me and pin that criminal conduct on me, all while the entity is being documented by myself in what is the P.O.C. In insurmountable evidence, irreducible evidence, long existing historic evidence with regard to proving the government is engaged in surveillance in the United States, and it is referred to as gang stalking. And moreover, it's a bunch of demons. It's the demon possessed. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that. It's 1:18 p.m. This is what I've been subject to. I've been sitting in my room, engaging in what is paying attention, observing what the demons are doing. And so I opened my door to capture the specific environment, which is shared by the City of Ontario, who did not come to my door. All right, I want to be clear. The City of Ontario stated that, oh, we're going to come see you every single day, which is when they're gang stalking. They come to my door. They're threatening my life. They're monitoring me. Everything that they're taking and taking notes of, it's all public information. My ID, my social security number, anything regarding their housing services, which is all supposed to be private. It's all pursuant to monitoring. They're violating the laws, which is, again, additional basis of prosecuting. But nonetheless, they stated that they were going to come, that they did not come to my door, and they also know that they're being documented. But they're still gang stalking me. They don't have to come to my door for me to be subject to domestic terrorism and psychological torture, this sensational activity creation, light activity, and ongoing relevant positioning by a bunch of sex offenders who are staying at the hotel courtesy of the City of Ontario. Okay, it is currently 1:19 p.m. This is P.O.C, and that's the license plate of the City of Ontario gang stalking. This is P.O.C. And that is, again, the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. with the very patrons of that venue. It is 1:19 p.m. and this is documentation of the City of Ontario not coming to my door today. While that is also an identification of being targeted, the entity is engaging in what is avoiding. Let me be clear. They know that they're being documented, and they don't know that they're being documented because of anything that I'm doing that is letting them know, oh, she's taking pictures of us. The demons are engaged in monitoring the evidence. This is why you engage in something as ridiculous as covering up the fake sun. And everybody already knows that these demons are psychopaths stalking me under a fake sun from sunrise to sunset. Like I stated in that documentation yesterday, at or around 3 p.m., the demons are delusional. Okay, now they're engaged in surveilling the evidence. And so this is why the City of Ontario, that paid for my hotel room and stated at the outset, oh, we're going to have to come to your room every day, did not come to my room while they're monitoring me, while pacing around like psychopaths that they are. Mental illness is borne by those, and it's not distinct because they have a position in government. What this is a service to the public, letting you know that those that suffer from mental illness and are engaged in this system of public corruption, gang stalking American citizens, are disqualified from being in government. They're a threat to the public. That's what's exposing, because their mental illness is put on full display. All right. And they did not come to my door while they're gang stalking me with the rest of these demons, these puppets pacing all around. They're all puppets alike. But the City of Ontario, I want to be clear, the program operators, they did not come to my door today, which is also a form of targeting while they're gang stalking me. And they also are aware because they're engaged in federal stalking as a public entity, and they know that they're being documented. And by the way, in the same way that they can gang stalk me and not come to my front door, I can document them while I'm inside of my hotel room. But you also know that they know that they're being documented. And that's fine, because you're going to witness your own exposure. Since you wanted to stalk me so much and you wanted to monitor and kidnap me and be a sex offender and worship my vagina, you're going to witness your own exposure for being that maniacal psychopath and sex offender. You're going to witness your own demise coming for you. Since you wanted to watch me so much, you're going to watch it come for you. Okay, so that's the significance. But the City of Ontario is indeed targeting, not coming to my room while they're gang stalking me, and they're also deviating from what they expressed was going to be the boundaries of the so-called voucher while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct, which I stated at the Ontario Town Square. The pattern of conduct is going to continue underway. And they're gang stalking me with the same third-party kidnapper that's wearing the Adidas shirt and the Adidas sandals. This demon that may very well be a gang stalking immigrant is roaming around free while the federal government is permitting this, okay? Roaming around free and still targeting me and still monitoring my vagina, a sex offense that I remain subject to, while the same public entity, the City of Ontario, is also still gang stalking and being permitted to do so. All right, it is currently 1:21 p.m. This is All right, it's 1:23 p.m. You will see the fake sun. I went on ahead and show you the environment where the City of Ontario is gang stalking me with a previously documented kidnapper that is employed at the venue, monitoring me together with the City of Ontario while they're in the parking lot. They are gang stalking me and engaged in what is harassing and terrorizing me together. The entity is, while they're outside passing out food and the demon-possessed are pacing out of their hotel rooms, pacing together as the demon-possessed. That's the significance of the engineered light, of the fake sun, of all manner of amplified and sensational activity, which is all demonic. These are a bunch of demons that are together terrorizing one person, harassing one person, and doing so under the superficial veneer of what is a natural environment, seemingly disconnected as you are gang gang stalking as what appears on the surface as strangers. They're not strangers. The specific environment is showing that they are all targeting together a specific person. But this is the maniacal psychopathic pattern of conduct as you're witnessing, and it's showing also public corruption. And the entity is doing so through the corrupt use of what is the City of Ontario's program for housing. Okay? It is currently 1:24 p.m. Alright, as you can hear, I open the front door, you'll see mobile. This is a female with a blue shirt. She's been gang stalking on for many days now. 1:25, she's stalking in the path while the entity flies over by commercial planes. What the demons are doing, I documented this a lot with the with the Ontario Police Department, but also with the Los Angeles Police Department, where they amplify helicopter activity and they're at a great distance away. So I would step out of my office, for example, and where the entity is sounding helicopter activity in my office, but yet you're looking at the helicopter is like flying circles around the mountain in alignment to my office. This is what the demons of the City of Ontario are doing, and they're doing so gang stalking. 2315 South Euclid Avenue is mobile. That establishment is gang stalking, and so are the employees. You'll see her walking in the path. She's creating light activity, monitoring in real time, and this is exactly what the City of Ontario was doing with the gang stalkers whose hotel rooms the City of Ontario paid for to engage in surveillance. And this is supposed to be giving the Ovitt Family Community Library a break from my documenting them monitoring me all day long in a library like psychopaths. So now they're doing it while I'm remaining at a hotel, and the fake sun moves as I move. That's why in a natural environment, the sun is not going to remain over Ovitt Family Community Library all day long, and neither is the sun going to be over the Ovitt Family Community Library from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. either, okay? But this is where the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. and targeting with amplified plane activity, and the sound of the plane has nothing to do with what is the plane that's in the sky space. That's demonic. It's as demonic as the impossible light activity. So I'm teaching you about recognizing the illusion with regard to the environment where the demon possessed, who are living, walking, breathing, dead people. They're zombies. They're hollowed out. They're demon possessed. The spirit of Satan is what animates them. They're engaged in obsessing over people that they're keeping under surveillance, and they are doing so under the malicious guise of appearing like normal human beings, like myself, that are not demon possessed, that are not sitting around stalking another person as their whole obsession in life, okay? Not focused on going to work, not focused on tending to their babies, not focused on minding their business, not focused on their romantic relationships. Everything that they're doing is serving the elements of monitoring. That's why you're maintaining your nuclear family and having your family picnic and having your festivities and having everything that's concerning, where it's supposed to look like you're focused on something else, but they're doing it under the fake sun around me. They're doing it while the government is gang stalking in planes and helicopters over me. They're doing it in an environment that is entirely supernatural with regard to how they're simultaneously monitoring. That's the demon-possessed, hollowed out zombies who are psychopaths. Their mental illness is shared as a population. And in California, when you're prosecuting the government that makes a lot of money off of it is the entity that's going to be prosecuted for commercially engaging in surveillance. And that's what mobile represents. That's what Economy N represents. And they're gang stalking by flying over the venue, and the plane is at a tremendous distance. While the third party, this is a female with a blue shirt on, you'll see her, I'm capturing images. She's stalking while the entity flies over. This is the shared pattern of conduct. I always document, what do you see around me on the ground while the demons are hovering over in plane and helicopter? The demons are acting together as one. The entity stalks with amplified plane helicopter activity, and then the demons are pacing around in engineer light. This is what you'll see while this female is wearing this. She's wearing a blue shirt, and the time is 1:28 p.m. So at around this time, you're going to see she's stalking in perfect alignment with my room. She begins looking up at the sky space as the plane activity is why I open the door, and the plane is already at a tremendous distance away. This is surrounding with what is demonic activity. The noise is relevant to demonic activity. The light is what you're learning is relevant to demonic activity. And the presence around me, these are demons. This is demonic activity, and they're all stalking. Okay, it is gang stalking, and businesses are engaged in gang stalking. Economy Inn is gang stalking. Mobile is gang stalking. Driftwood Village is gang stalking. The demons that are walking around in Food for Less and parking at the parking lot, they are all aware of what I'm doing and who I am and what I'm stating. This is massive surveillance. While the entity concentrates playing activity over my hotel room, and that specific focal point is proven through the maintenance of a fake sun and inexplicable light that is not explainable by any science. Science cannot tell you why, cannot explain how in the shade light is manifesting, how while I open and crack the door open, light, and understand it's a cracked surface, it's a covered surface outside as well, so this is all shade, but as I crack open the door, concentrated light is appearing above my head, and these are the circumstances where, in the environment where the City of Ontario was gang stalking with the patrons whose rooms they paid for while they're gang stalking me, okay? And this is the same kidnapper, the City of Ontario. So that's what's documented. The plane is at a tremendous distance away. It's 1:30 p.m. The demons that are gang stalking me together while the City of Ontario provides the form of amplified audible activity. While the demons are walking outside, the demons are like they're giants creating ongoing vibration. You can hear them stomping when I'm in the bathroom, and that's not stomping. All they're doing is walking. These are demon-possessed people. So what you see them doing physically is not what is happening with regard to audibly, and it's not naturally occurring with regard to the light activity that's surrounding me as well, okay? And this is what's relevant when the demon-possessed are embodied by the City of Ontario and the people of the state gang stalking as patrons, walking to and from their rooms under the fake sun in the engineered light, and while I'm inside of my hotel room subject to that pattern of conduct, okay? It is gang stalking. It's 1:30 p.m. That's the City of Ontario targeting with also mobile. And I want to be clear, it's directly relevant. Gang stalking, stalking in the path, license. This is a Latino male. This is like waiting conduct. Not coincidentally driving in, sitting under the entrance of the hotel for me to open my door. That's a stalker. 8H85025. Again, 8 Henry 85025. That's a Latino male stalking, and that's the entity that's stalking. And they're doing so with the City of Ontario that's maintaining hovering and demented methods of surveillance, stalking demons, okay? The entity is doing so while engineer light is on the ceiling. You'll see the images as I walk downstairs, all engineer light on the outside of the building, and I showed you the engineer light that's on the inside of my building. This is shared with what I'm documenting at the Courtyard by Marriott in Monrovia. What I'm documenting at the Motel 6 in Arcadia, California. This is shared with what I'm documenting at the Courtyard by Marriott in Las Vegas, Nevada, replete with what is the fake sun and the methods of impossible light inside of the hotels. This is the pattern of conduct of state surveillance, okay? And I have documented this consistently. This is documented at the Day Inn in Ontario, California. This is documented at American Inn in Ontario, like every venue, in other words, that I'm remaining at, including my home, Alvarado Gardens, my apartment, and my place of employment where the entity kept the fake sun from sunrise until sunset. Engineer light inside of my office, where you see my upright shadow just in front of me inside of the building. There's no sun that's creating that. There's no sunlight. This is stalking with light, and that's what the demon possessed are doing. They're doing it at Economy Inn, and that's a stalker. That's a sex offender monitoring my vagina as well. They also know what's going on concerning my genitalia inside of this hotel room 24 hours a day. And spending millions of dollars on using planes and the resources of the police department and fire department and in a whole airport. These companies using their planes, the commercial airline planes. This is massive surveillance by a entirely dead population. These people are already dead. This is the work of the demon possessed. Okay, and this is speaking to what is public corruption. Gang stalking is the work of Satan. Now, Satan is going to be prosecuted because the demon-possessed fill positions of government. The demon-possessed work for the corrupt police departments, the fire departments. They are the people of the state that are maintaining presence and maintaining what are means of presence as the civilian population. They're the demons that are gang stalking. And it is the entity that's not impervious to being prosecuted in federal tribunals throughout this country. All right, it is currently, again, 1:33 p.m. This is P.O.C. An Economy Inn's housekeeper is gang stalking. She engages in what takes approximately a few hours. She maintains surveillance the entire day, gang stalking as an employee at the venue with the demons that are aiding in what is the ongoing pattern of conduct. All right, she's engaged in housekeeping and engineer light under a fake sun that remains over me all day long, engaged in what is ongoing harassment in doing so, and is a psychopath that knows that she's being documented. Okay, POC. Hi.
Hi.
All right, it's currently, what is 1:34 p.m. This is P.O.C. Oh, let me show you the impossible light that's on my front door right now. All right, this is the impossible light activity. This is the pattern of this gate over here. And you can see as I raise my arm right here, this is the entity that is gang stalking. Now that is called relevant positioning, light activity, and ongoing audible activity. And that does not cause an earthquake inside of the room. This is understanding the entity that's engaged in what is irreducible evidence of criminal monitoring. And this is shared inside of Starbucks. This is the same pattern of conduct, where the entity is also gang stalking with commercial planes, where 2500 Airport Drive has no terminals where they will be flying over the Unicare community hospital center that's adjacent to the Starbucks, flying over me at the Starbucks like I documented. The entity is deviating by gang stalking with commercial planes and by helicopter, the Ontario Police Department. And it's the same pattern of conduct of stalking with inexplicable light that is also on the door. And the demon, this is a psychopath that's engaging in that. And this is what I'm documenting with regard to the third party who was engaged in surveillance at the entrance of the hotel, crossing path at the moment that I opened the door. This is surveillance in plain sight as well. And this is a sex offender that's gang stalking with the city of Ontario, the state of California, all right? And the evidence of the specific environment, which is conducive to a population sharing and surveillance. This is impossible light. Okay? And this is for purposes of gang stalking by a population. This is where the city of Ontario engaged in targeting me today by not coming to my room. Out of control of what they told me is going to be the circumstances behind paying for the room that they've covered for the rest of the gang stalking that are also targeting me at this hotel in the face of the remaining table collecting composition show. The third party manager, 918-454, is gang stalking as an employee at a company that is a previously documented kidnapper as an entity. The social obstruction of justice and the employees that are engaged. She's just pacing. All she's doing is pacing. Engineer light is above, engineer light is inside, engineer light is on the door, and all the people of the state are gang stalking with the city of Ontario that is flying over my room and amplifying plane activity inside of my room with regard to targeting with mobile 2315 South Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. and this is the sex offensive monitoring. All right, it is currently 1:36 p.m. at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. All right, capturing video of the light activity that you can hear me narrating, so I went on ahead and captured that. It's going to be uploaded to the Google Drive. That's the ongoing environment where the demon, that is a third-party employee of the facilitating venue, not a private property. A facilitating venue is gang stalking with the government and is stripped of any sort of private property rights under the Constitution, which is why Starbucks employees and the Starbucks establishment maliciously targeting me. They're going to federal prison. Ocean and Elena, Patty, Brian, all of them engaging in that pattern of conduct on July 4, 2025, where you see the evidence of stalking me with impossible light activity inside of this hotel room, because that's exactly what Starbucks is engaging in under a fake sun that is documented on the record as remaining in a supernatural manner with regard to remaining over Starbucks from sunrise until after 7 p.m. That's the entity that is stalking while they're making coffee beverages. This is the entity that is stalking while they're maintaining hotel rooms for the people of the state, the entity that is gang stalking with the city of Ontario, and every corrupt department, every level of government is engaged in that surveillance system. And so I captured that video. It will be uploaded to YouTube. Alan D. WAPNER is a sex offender. He's monitoring my vagina inside of this hotel room. And it is the same with Paul Leon, who is a gang stalking mayor. And no gang stalking mayor is remaining in office, okay? I have documented many gang stalking mayors throughout Southern California, every county, and it goes from Kern County to Orange County, Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County. I've documented the entity that is gang stalking from city to city to city to city, literally. And these are gang stalking mayors that do not belong in office. They are to be removed because of this corruption that is speaking to criminal surveillance that's happening throughout the state of California, including while the entity provides ongoing evidence and proof of it while targeting me at this hotel, which is the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. Okay, it's currently 1:38 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, license E359NO 70KN302, in case I did not already document that third party. 9MIE 852.
No, we ain't cool, man. What's close in the streets?
And 6YOW 765. That's 6YOW 765. All right, license plate 9TZR471. And this is stalking in the path with light at 5:11 p.m. where the entity is engaging in this illogical, ridiculous, and behavior that is a concession to surveillance of evidence, which is directly pointing to mental illness of the targeting entity and criminal surveillance by the targeting entity. That is covering up the fake sun from 2 to I guess 7, and then it's appearing again. And that's just in the past couple days. The entity is entirely unprepared for what is a deconstruction through logic and legal reasoning and common sense. And science is also on my side with regard to the facts of gang stalking in an entirely supernatural environment, which is speaking to mental illness, maintaining a circus-like environment, including the behavior of the demons who are engaging in the criminal surveillance. And it includes license 9TZR471, who was stalking in the path with light at the venue where the entity is stalking by both commercial planes over my hotel room and helicopter. It's currently 5:13 p.m. where you will see mobile gang stalking, where they're at the gas stalls 1, 3. They're in perfect alignment with my room, but so is 2 and 4 and every other gas pump at that venue. But you're understanding what is stalking with perfect alignment in the path. So at nightfall, they're engaging in pumping their gas and aiming their headlights toward my room while they're stalking with light. They're doing this while the demons are gang stalking, flying over my room by plane and helicopter, while they're engaged in what is ongoing pacing in the parking lot and around. This is how the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct while the demon possessed engage in the 3 elements of monitoring: stalking with light, stalking with audible activity, and stalking in the path, which is relevant positioning. This is the demons literally, all they're doing is pacing around me. This is a ritualistic conduct. This is ritualistic with regard to the demon possessed that are engaged in what is spiritually significant, which you are not aware of. You're just ignorant about the fake sun. You're ignorant about the impossible light activity. You're ignorant about surveillance. But this is the demonic that the demon possessed are practicing, and they're engaged in what is pacing all around me, and everything that they're doing is centered on me, not centered on their business, not centered on their kids, not centered on unloading things out of their car. These are demons who are engaging in a ritual, and it's centered on me while they're stalking with light, stalking in the path, and stalking in presence, which is relevant positioning, meaning everyone's position is relevant to me, and that relevant positioning is proven through the maintenance of the specific environment, which I've also shown you. Okay, it's currently 5:15 p.m. This is P.O.C. at Economy N. All right, it is currently 8:18 p.m. at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. The entity maintaining the same impossible light activity at nightfall. So I'm currently surrounded with 3 shadows. And where I stand now, I'm outside on the first floor, taking a shadow to my left, taking a shadow in front, taking a picture of my shadow in front of me, and taking a shadow, an elongated, magnified size of my shadow to my right. This is the impossible light activity that's present during the day, while the people of the state, including the city of Ontario, the housing services, supposedly engaged in the same exact criminal pattern of conduct, monitoring me and monitoring my vagina, which is, again, the illegitimate interest of the government engaging in surveillance. Bathroom monitoring right now. As you can hear me speaking, my presence outside is speaking to that which is impossible to hear inside of the hotel. The entity is admittingly monitoring my vagina, while the people of the state, the sound of traffic is heard inside of the depths of the bathroom, inside of my hotel room, where a population is monitoring my vagina together. Those sex offenders include license 9SBU 962, license 3TBG137, and they're all gang stalking as I walk in the parking lot, and they're all crossing path. License 9NZA022, 7DSP128, 6YOW765, which I documented earlier. They're now parked in a spot, staying in one of the rooms, gang stalking, monitoring my vagina. 4KCY540, 9SSF936, 8RXS979. 6UN065, 8LKV364. This is a Texas plate, GW08HV, 9SPD246. 23103U1 and 8EDV437. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct. Looks like the entity is maintaining the engineered environment. As I'm outside just talking, I'm capturing the same exact specific environment to understand the uniformity of the pattern of conduct. It doesn't change. All right. The entity has what is the maintenance of presence by a population that practice sexual violence, and this is the state of California's exposure as a sex offender. The government is a sex offender while maintaining what is a criminal justice system to prosecute sex offenders that are engaging in sexual violence, while the government is simultaneously engaging in that, while it's gang stalking American citizens and gang stalking a woman, okay? License 5 SBA 114 9EUM 061. And I'm currently surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4 shadows in this parking lot while I'm documenting the people of the state. They're all gang stalking inside of these hotel rooms, all right, including the management, the employees. You're always reminded that the entity is going to be prosecuted as an establishment. It's a corrupt business, and this is public corruption while the businesses, the people of the state, the civilian population are engaging in criminal surveillance with the government, who relies on the demon-possessed people of the state to gang stalk with the demon-possessed government actors engaging in surveillance together. Okay, that what you hear right now, this traffic is not going to be heard inside of the depths of the bathroom. That's what the entity was doing, maintaining surveillance inside of the private space while they are all sharing and what is worshiping my vagina, pacing all around it and surrounding me with amplified noise, which is demonic, while I'm surrounded with light activity, which is demonic, in other words, supernatural, which is relevant to intent. You're intentionally surrounding with that which is not naturally ever happening. You're doing so because of the pattern of conduct. And while I'm documenting this demon sitting in the parking lot, not walking outside, engaging in surveillance in the parking lot, stalking with light in the path, this is the third party gang stalking as a patron. All right, this is the third party that is engaging in that P.O.C. in this specific environment. They were sitting in the parking lot just engaging in surveillance. This is the entity that's not engaged in what is in other words, ordinary conduct. They're engaging in surveillance, monitoring, making sure that somebody is present in the path in the parking lot, especially with regard to surveillance that the people of the state are maintaining together. Okay, so that was the license plate 9UEN. It started with that. That was a third party that's already sitting in the parking lot, a stalker, maintaining a presence on behalf of an entity in the parking lot. And this is what the entity is doing all day and all night, maintaining, making sure, in other words, somebody is always present in the path. And if someone is not, which is really not the case, they're always, the demons are engaged in ongoing concerted conduct, but you're just ignorant about the fact that they're all demons acting in concert, okay? Because you're looking at the surface where people that are not conversing with each other, they don't necessarily know each other and have no physical relation to each other, but they are demons who are acting in concert with each other, and the specific environment is your knowledge of that fact, okay? Well, I'm exposing to you what is demonic activity and what is also exposing public corruption, criminal surveillance by a corrupt government. All right. So anyway, that third party is engaged in what is stalking in the parking lot. And I want to be clear, the employees are stalking, the patrons are stalking, the government. There is no place of belonging, meaning there's no shelter from a prosecution when the government's engaging in surveillance through the people of the state. And you will be prosecuted where you work. You will be prosecuted where you live. You will be prosecuted where you're remaining, like the patrons who are demons engaging in surveillance. While demon is crossing path, driving on the parking lot of the mobile gas station at 2315 South Euclid Avenue at 8:23 p.m. Impossible light activity is moving across this vehicle in front of me at license 9 SBU 962. That's impossible light, and that's a stalker that is aware of who I am and what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And the evidence of that impossible light activity is the proof of that. Okay, that's targeting conduct. They're all targeting my vagina while it is in the bathroom, and they are all aware, they being demons who are sex offenders, aware. And sex offenders have children. Sex offenders wear uniforms and badges and exercise authority under the law, and that's authority that they don't have legitimately, and they certainly don't have authority to engage in surveillance. And so this is understanding the fictitious exercise of authority as an entity that is gang stalking. Okay, I want to make sure I document this is the perpetual sex offense, not only as I remain in the hotel room, but this is documentation of bathroom monitoring. And the people of the state, including the license plates that I just recited, mobile gas at 2315 South Euclid Avenue. The sex offense, gang stalking, federal prosecutions of businesses is not limited to business hours. As I just documented, the people of the state are maintaining presence on every facilitating venue, regardless of the time, to maintain criminal presence. And Also, the relevance is that during business hours, the people of the state are gang stalking when the business is open. And it's still used with regard to criminal presence and criminal maintenance of light activity. The government is using it as well directly, even while the business hours are speaking to the fact that that establishment may be closed, but it's not closed for gang stalking purposes. There's nothing that's limiting the prosecution. A federal RICO case is relevant to the entity that's engaged in bathroom monitoring, and this is a sex offense inside. And you'll see the images of the impossible light activity where this demon is stalking in the parking lot, engaging in what is surveilling me in particular, knowledge of me, while I have 4 shadows on my left side as I walk in the parking lot past that vehicle. That demon starts the ignition with regard to monitoring me, which is crossing path light activity, maintaining activity as I am documenting on my communication device, and is engaged in surveillance in the parking lot while I'm subject to the sex offense inside of my bathroom, inside of the bathroom of this hotel. All right, it is currently, again, 8:25 p.m. and all the video documentation captured today is currently published on the Google Drive for you to witness, for you to observe, and also on the YouTube channel at This Is the P.O.C. The P.O.C. website is at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. All right, it is currently, again, July 18, 2025, and it's 8:26 p.m. at third-party facilitating venue Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where I remain subject to the ceaseless criminal pattern of conduct by the state of California, and this is P.O.C.